Hey guys, what's up?
Yo.
And welcome to the Gin and Juice podcast.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Oh man, how you feeling today, man? You good?
It's actually a pretty good day, man. Although I got kind of someone bailed on me for a date today. I feel pretty good. I think that stuff can't phase me. You know?
Honestly, man, you can't let that kind of stuff phase you at all today,
Everybody
man.
does. Happens to everybody.
Yeah, seriously though, and I'm having a great week too, man. A lot of blessings in my life coming to fruition, so I can't ever complain about that. Always happy.
Yeah.
And like usual, we're here to hit you guys with another episode. We're going to jump right into some UFC to start it off, and then we're going to hit you with our patented reaction videos afterwards. So we wanted to start things off with you guys on something that was a super interesting fight. This has been like literally over a year in the making. It's Colby Covington taking on Robbie Lawler in the welterweight division here. Now, we're going to give you guys some betting odds. We're going to give you guys our takes on those, and you guys can do with those as you please. So first of all, the betting lines that we have here, we're on Bet365 for this individual case. We got Colby Covington as a favorite at minus 250 on the money line, and a plus 200 for Robbie Lawler as the underdog. Now, $10 for those that are uninitiated would probably get you about $14 return if you bet on Colby Covington in this respect. Now, in our humble opinion, I think we both came to a consensus about who the winner of this was, right?
Yeah, of course.
And we think it's going to be Colby Covington, probably through a little bit of a grind kind of thing. But how do you think this fight's going to take place?
Again, I love Lawler, one of my most favorite fighters of all time. I think he's definitely explosive enough to counteract Colby in many ways. He does have a chance. I'm not saying, of course, it's going to be a competitive fight. I think he's got a great chance of just mauling Colby. But, reality, how I really feel about it is that I don't think he's going to do that. And I think Colby's unassumingly good. A lot of people would still probably underestimate
100%.
him.
He's probably going to be one of the most underestimated people because of how hateable and cringeworthy his persona that he drummed up was.
Exactly.
And you can't mistake in that. You got to respect the fighter even if you don't respect the person as a human for whatever reason.
For sure. And most people looking at his fights, mostly decisions, right?
Right.
A finish here and there. Out of his last 6 fights, he's only finished one, and that was the first one of those 6.
Exactly.
So, I mean, we know he grinds people out. It's not the most exciting style. He keeps chain wrestling. He keeps the pressure up. For the uneducated eye, or for someone that doesn't want to look that deep into the fight, yeah, it looks boring and did he really win? What did he just lay on top of him and stuff like that? But at the end of the day, he dominates those fights.
And if you want to beat me, stop me from doing it. That's just the thing.
Yeah, he doesn't leave any opportunity for his opponents to actually, do anything to prevent his takedowns and all that stuff. So I think that we're going to see more of the same in this particular case. And Colby's going to grind out Lawler for all the rounds and get a decision.
And I think another thing we need to also take into consideration is Colby Covington is somebody who's been away, but that doesn't mean that he hasn't been improving. If he improves what was already a solid striking, piece of arsenal that he had to use on his opponents, it really contextualizes why he goes and gets those the victories that he does get, which are grind outs, and that you're tired at the end of the first round. And that's the most dangerous part of this fight, is get through that beginning of the first round is the most dangerous part of this fight for Colby Covington.
Absolutely.
And anybody that gets in that ring against Robbie Lawler, just go ask Ben Askren. You don't have to look very far.
Exactly. If Lawler comes out the same way, he's got some chance in the first couple minutes, but after that, I think it's going to be Colby's game.
Every second that ticks, it goes in the favor of Covington. And this is the thing, is he's a world-class wrestler, and Lawler's always been good about trying to stop wrestlers. That's what his style's always been predicated on, that.
Correct.
Just keep it standing.
Yep.
But the caliber of the wrestler and the tenaciousness with what Colby Covington does in terms of utilizing his chain wrestling, going from one advantageous position to another, almost pulling your anchors as you're trying to get up, Khabib style and stuff. It's a grind you out type of style, and it's one of those that's really difficult to deal with in the long term of things. So looking at the numbers and looking at all of these things, we probably going to have to if we were going to put our money down, it's definitely going to be on Colby Covington, probably via decision if you guys wanted to put down method of victory. I would probably just, if you think Colby's going to win, I would roll decision out there. His last 5 fights indicate that he wins by decision. And if you're gonna put Robbie, it's probably gonna be a KO. That's probably how it's gonna go down if you wanted to put money. And hey, Robbie Lawler as the underdog at plus 200 is a little bit of disrespect on a certain level. And if you really do think that Colby Covington is gonna get caught early and it's gonna be over soon, I would go with Robbie Lawler. Why not?
It's a good risk to take, I guess.
It's got to be in the first couple rounds. I don't see it happening.
Right, so you might as well maybe bet if they open up a line for something like that where you can bet on a first round or second round finish, you get more
That's
of a
where your
return.
money should go if you're gonna put it on Robbie. And it's not stupid money. I'll put it that way.
And if you bet on Colby, don't forget he's the favorite, so you would have to actually parlay with something else because you're not going to be making money otherwise.
Right. And now we can move on, I guess, right over here to what we think is going to be the fight of maybe even the whole card.
Yeah, it's our fight to watch is what we decided to call it.
Yeah, our fight to watch is what we're going to be calling that little segment from here on out. So we got Clay Guida versus Jim Miller. Just like last time when we were on a couple weeks ago, and how I said just this Saturday's fights between Davidson Figueiredo and Alexander Pantoja was going to be the fight to watch. This one is going to be just as much of a barn burner, and if you ask me. Clay Guida and Jim Miller are guys who are going to be rolling all over the ground, and it's going to look like two dogs fighting, literally rolling all over the place. It's going to be one that you're not going to want to look away from. You blink and something crazy might happen. Yep. But at the same time, where's your money going on what we think is a toss-up?
Yeah, that's definitely a toss-up, and it's a very hard fight to bet on in terms of like unpredictability because 100%. You have two now veterans of the game that are both really explosive, really open up in the exchanges. Right. So, everybody's susceptible to getting knocked out in this case.
Right.
We know that Guida's cardio is insane.
Yes, it is.
Also for his age, and it's always been insane, and he doesn't seem to stop. Even while he's getting interviewed after the fight, he's still jumping around and going crazy.
Right.
So he's a genetic freak like that, I guess. But my prediction would be Clay Guida because he's coming off of a nice kind of win over BJ Penn, and both their records are kind of like riddled with wins and losses every next fight, but I still think Clay Guida. I don't think Jim Miller can present that much to Clay Guida that is gonna like freak Guida out or like knock him out.
I think the only way Clay Guida would lose this fight is not via decision, and it's not going to be via knockout. The only way is by submission. And Jim Miller is just he's just a submission specialist out here, and these guys both have over 30 wins for a reason and over 10 losses for a reason. There's a reason that this record is overall like about hovering around 75% for each of them. It's because both of them have gotten clipped before, but they're also very durable. Yeah. But at the same time, there's times where they're going down and they're taking those losses. Now, if I had to put my money down on it, I'm with you. It's Clay Guida. But if I were betting out there, I would not be using this as a part of a parlay. I would not be using this. Yeah. I wouldn't be using this as part of a Yankee. It's just a little bit too risky to be putting that out there as part of something where you. Basically, for those that are uninitiated, a parlay is when you're putting things together, and the multipliers basically based on the odds of those two things being true, or more. And
Clay Guida is the underdog, so right? Yeah.
Yes, actually, Clay Guida is actually the favorite on Bet365, but it is so close. It's narrowest of margins.
Plus 150, right?
So he is the underdog. Sorry, that's true. So he's a plus 150.
So that's
some smarter money if you want to put it down. It would definitely help out your factor. You put down $10 on Clay Guida right now, you're getting a return of $25, right?
The way I look at it, if you're gonna risk betting on this fight,
it's got to be Clay.
Don't do it in a parlay, so you can bet as a standalone, and it's worth to put your money on Clay Guida because he's the underdog, and you'll get some return on your money actually.
100%.
So if you're gonna take that risk, do it like that.
And then the next fight we're gonna look out for you guys is Mickey Gall, who's stepping in on short notice in place of Salim Imadaev. He's gonna be taking on Salim Touahri. Yep. And so he's going to be they've got Touahri as the betting favorite right now.
Right now,
which I think is really interesting because I think Mickey Gall's despite that loss against Diego Sanchez, he still got a lot to offer in terms of he can be taken down. He doesn't stop takedowns, but he's always dangerous. All of his wins in the UFC has been through rear naked choke.
Yeah, absolutely. And also don't forget, Touahri was supposed to fight someone else before that, Salim Imadaev. And Salim Imadaev got injured, so the fight was canceled, and Mickey Gall comes as a short notice replacement. So factor that in. Second of all, in that previous matchup against Salim Imadaev, Salim was the big favorite.
He was a huge favorite in the original matchup.
So the underdog from that fight faces Mickey Gall and becomes the favorite.
Right.
I understand that Mickey Gall's coming on a short notice, but I don't know. In my mind, I think there's something odd with the way they kind of picked out the odds, no pun intended. And I would still bet on Mickey Gall, and I like that he's the odds are that he's the underdog, because I think that's you can win some money on that.
And if you look recently when he's had full camps, Mike Jackson, he was against Mike Jackson, he was a huge underdog. Then against
you mean a huge favorite?
A huge favorite, I should say.
Of course.
And then against CM Punk, a huge favorite. And then Sage Northcutt got a little bit closer. And then it was a pick'em between him and Randy Brown, and he came out on the wrong end of a decision. Right? So it's just a decision in that one. Then you got George Sullivan, not necessarily a household name, but again, at the same time, Mickey Gall took care of business as the favorite.
Right.
And now you got Mickey Gall, who was a favorite against Diego Sanchez, and he actually ended up losing. I thought he fought a little bit cocky and needed to learn a little bit.
I was a little bit, I'm going to be honest, a little bit shocked and definitely surprised by the outcome of the Diego Sanchez fight.
Yeah, for sure. Especially the outcome, the knockout.
Yeah.
What I think is what happened, though, is Mickey Gall thought he could just submit this old guy. He hasn't been submitted before, which Diego still hasn't been submitted before. We had Michael Chiesa over him just a couple weeks ago.
But he couldn't submit him.
And he couldn't finish him. So Mickey Gall, being a guy who must be submitting a lot of guys all the way up. I mean, that's all how all of his wins have come in. His rear naked choke submission. He was trying to slap that on Diego. It didn't work out. And guess what now? It's round 2. It's the end of the round. And Diego's got you a little bit tired. He's going to take you into deep waters. And that's the thing as being a young buck, is like you're not necessarily as accustomed to the moment, and you might overthink things and think you're just be more comfortable than you should. I would liken that matchup to Donald Cerrone versus Alex Hernandez.
Right.
Who do I think is going to be who I think in 2 or 3 years obviously is going to be more relevant and making some things. I think Hernandez grew a lot from that fight, and I think Mickey Gall has grown just as much from this Diego Sanchez
I would
loss.
agree with you on that
and
one.
I think that Mickey Gall is the guy I'd put money on this.
I would. I like it. I like the fact, all the things you mentioned, the experience and the fact that he's probably hungry. And I mean, I like it. And there's something to be said for people taking fights on short notice. I mean, sometimes it definitely plays against them, but sometimes it could be a refreshing kind of, you know what I'm saying?
100%.
You skip all the anxiety and all the stuff of the whole camp, and you just kind of find yourself in the fight already. This could definitely be a good thing if you're keeping in shape in between camps and all that stuff.
100%, man. I agree. And the last one we have for you here, quickly, we're going to have Antonina Shevchenko, the Bullet's sister. She's going to be taking on Lucie, ironically, the Bullet, Pudilová. Now, Antonina Shevchenko is the betting favorite in this fight, and that's where we have our money if we were going to be betting. You want to take me through a couple of the reasons why you have this fight going that direction there, Jad?
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. I just, obviously we are a little biased because we've seen her sisters just kill it with the kickboxing. And I think that we can expect at least, I don't think from what we've seen in the stats as well, that Antonina's defense is as solid, because she seems to be taking a lot of punches as well as, throwing them. So she's more of a brawler kind of. So I think she would be more susceptible to maybe getting caught. But considering that, knockouts are a little more rare in the women's divisions as well, I would think that just the volume that Antonina's going to put on Lucie would be just too much, and she's gonna get the decision overall with probably unanimous decision.
Yeah, I've got Antonina in this fight. I just see from the stats that I see from Lucie Pudilová, she throws a lot of strikes and she lands she lands 4.87 of them when she's striking, but Antonina has even more volume at 5.29.
Sure.
What I want to really focus on is that these are two high volume striking fighters, and I see that from the stats that Lucie is a little bit more loose with the accuracy. She's not necessarily pinpoint. She's 39% striking accuracy, whereas Antonina has a 56% striking accuracy. So more than half of her punches that she's throwing are actually landing. Moreover, I think that because of where Lucie's at in terms of absorbed strikes, she's absorbing 4.2 while dishing out 4.8.
Right.
Meanwhile, Antonina is dishing out over 5 while absorbing just 2. And these are per minute, of course.
So twice the amount, like less.
It's,
she's
in
absorbing.
Terms of attrition and how it's going to go down, and striking percentage in terms of defense. I mean, Antonina's defense is 66%, and you got Lucie's at 54%. So in every major striking metric outside of volume thrown, Antonina's got her beat, and Lucie's also 8-4. Antonina's only 7-1. Her only loss of her career coming to Roxanne Modafferi. And I think that this is going to be one of those that was a wake-up call, shrug it off, and you come into this hot. My money is on Antonina.
Dude, this has fucking decision written all over it for Antonina. For me, from the stats, from
just
how I feel about it.
An outclassed kickboxing match.
I think so. So, I mean, she is the favorite too. So we're not like breaking news here, but, I see a decision for Antonina all the way, and you parlay that with something else.
I would definitely do that. And if I were to put some stuff together, this is a final kind of wrap up. What our choices were Clay Guida, Mickey Gall, Colby Covington, and Antonina Shevchenko. A Yankee on that for $110, $111, I should say. Sorry, $110. You're going to get a decent payout if you got those all right. Again, we have a few, you get some nice, decent payouts in terms of getting some of the ones that we're more confident with, specifically because you would be placing bets on Colby Covington. I'd say Mickey Gall would be a nice one to factor into that, and Antonina Shevchenko. The Clay Guida one, again, like we were talking about, a little bit more of a toss-up, but we would go with Clay in that one. But if you were to remove that permutation, you'd still be making your money back and some. So that's why that's our betting line of the week. We at least break even if Clay Guida didn't win and everything else went your way. And standalone bet Clay Guida all day. That's a great one to put on. As a single bet, because you get $25 on the 10.
Right.
So, all right, that's perfect. We'll catch you guys on the flip.
All right, guys.